Hello and welcome to The Relax, your Yoga Teacher podcast, the podcast where we try and take the stress out of teaching yoga because let's face it, we didn't get into teaching yoga to be overworked, overwhelmed, stressed or burnt out. We got into teaching yoga to spread the love of yoga. And in today's podcast, we're going to be talking about something slightly less controversial than last week's. We're going to be talking about whether we should set up, me and you, whether you want to set up an online membership. So I currently run one. I currently run an online membership called Happy Yoga Community. It's been running since 2018, which is 4 years. That feels a little bit wrong, doesn't it? That's been 4 years. And it sits at just over 200 members currently, but at its peak, which I'm sure you can guess was during the pandemic, it had 400 members. And I love my online community. I absolutely love the members. I love the camaraderie in it, but there are definitely pros and cons to this model. And I want to go through some of those pros and cons with you because I've been doing it for a long time and maybe my experiences could help you decide whether it is something that you want to do or whether there is a more suitable model for you to be able to spread your yoga teaching. So let's start with the pros of doing an online yoga teaching membership. I currently offer 5 live classes a week, all ran by myself, and you have the catch up. So if you miss one of the classes, you can watch it on catch up for up to a week. And I also have a very extensive, over 400 videos on-demand library that members get access to. There's also some courses in there. I haven't really robusted them out very much, but there are some courses, including a pregnancy course and a beginner's course. And one of the live classes is a pregnancy class. The pros of running it is that you really get to know your members. So the people who are a member for a long time or coming regularly to classes, it doesn't feel like an online class. It feels like a community. When you come to those classes, you know the names of the people see the same people all the time. So we always have a little hello before the class, especially on the Thursday night. On the Thursday night, it's very sociable and it's just really nice to be able to see those people again and again, week after week, and you can see people's development and you just get to know them well. It's very like having a studio or in-person class because you are seeing the same faces all the time and you can help them for a longer period. The other thing is, obviously financially, it means that you know what's coming into your bank every month. So if you have a set number of members, they're going to be paying the same amount every month. So you're not getting that boom or bust, which you get with other yoga teaching where you have, it's very busy in January, but then not very busy at all in July, and then it's busy again in September, and then it drops off again in November and December. And in December you're like crying because no one's at your classes, and then it comes back in January. You don't have any of that. You know exactly what's coming into your bank account every month, and that is very nice. The other pros of it are that you can set your working hours, so you just say this is how many classes I'm doing, and then people can drop in and out of it. It means you're not having to launch all the time. So if you run courses, you have to get people into the course each time. And I think the membership model has been touted recently as a way to create passive income, which is obviously ridiculous because there is no such thing as passive income. There is no income that you can make unless you're like a landowner or you've got dividends from shares. I think that would probably count as a passive income. But in a business, there isn't really anything that you could say you just don't do anything and you get money for. Most things in business, I would say all things in business, need work. So there's this kind of myth that you can just set up a membership, the members will flock in, and then there you go, you keep your members are happy, They pay their monthly subscription every year, every month, and Bob's your uncle, you're rolling in it and your membership grows and grows and grows and you don't have to put any work in yourself. And that isn't true. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the work that's needed to put into an online membership. I'm not necessarily saying these are cons, because I personally find them very rewarding, but they are maybe things that you hadn't thought about. So in order to run a membership, those people, your members, every month you're having to retain them. So it's not where they become a member and then you own them and they are your member for life. Every month they have to make a decision. Sometimes maybe a couple of months will go by and they haven't really thought about it, but there will always be a point where they look at their bank statement and they say, is that worth keeping? So we need to, if you have an online membership, you need to be able to retain those people and keep those people engaged. So on top of those weekly classes, you also need to have something that is going to grip them back in. So you're going to have to run like maybe challenges or courses or one-off events, or you maybe just need to market one of your live classes as a live event. So make a special class to keep getting people's attention and interest, because if you just set it and to go, people are going to drop off. Another thing is that you want to automate as much as possible. So what I mean by that is get a system that's going to do things like send out emails, is going to check who's been to class, is going to be able to take the payments, all of that. You need to have that running on a system. Otherwise, it's going to be so much work. If you have over 100 members and you're having to email them all individually, that is not going to be sustainable. You need to have some software, and that software can be quite expensive. The thing with a membership as well is it doesn't really matter how many members you have, it is actually the same amount of work. So when you have 5 people in your membership, you're having to offer all of those classes because those other members don't care. So if you're a member of a membership, you don't care if you're like one member or more members. In fact, if anything, people like being in memberships where there are more people. So if your membership is small, if there's only like 4 or 5 members, you're still having to pay the outlay of the systems in order to, the software and the systems to be able to run it, but you'll not be making the same amount of money because there's not as many people in your membership. So if you can put those automations in earlier, then when your membership gets bigger, it doesn't cost more time and effort. And you want to have it so it is as automated as possible. Otherwise, it's going to be a nightmare when it starts getting. I'll give you a little bit of history about Happy Yoga Community. I set up Happy Yoga Community in 2018. The website, it took a lot of work. I launched it with a big fanfare and I probably got about 10 sign-ups, and it just took so much work to set it up, and it became like this sense of shame within us because I had launched it with a big fanfare. I had these members that were engaged, but there just wasn't enough members for it to be, and at the time, I didn't know anything about pricing. I didn't know anything about the online space. It was all completely new. Like, I didn't realize that people would pay for a online class. I just thought that if it was online, then it mustn't be very valuable. So I set it really low. My founded members paid £5.50 a month for the membership. And at the time, there was no live classes. At the time, it was just the on-demand library, but I was getting like £25 a month for it. It was a lot of work, and I eventually just lost interest in it. It became a sense of shame. I didn't want to do it. Every time I thought about it, it made me feel sick, and I had to send out an email being like, look guys, I'm really sorry, but I'm closing the membership. And then I just never talked about it again. And I was like, oh, that was a massive mistake. And I got quite like upset thinking about it. And if anyone ever asked what happened, I would be like, I don't want to talk about it. That was a massive embarrassment, total failure, the end. And then hit. So I reopened the community. I actually saw that I actually reopened the community about basically the first time someone sneezed. I opened the community again because I was like, right, okay, I need a backup plan if the studio needs to close. And I set it up maybe 4 weeks before we shut the studio. So I had everything in place for when the studio closed. And that meant that I had a lot of momentum, and I was so lucky because I closed the studio and all of the people who were, not all of them, but most of the people moved straight into the membership. So I had a big launch of people come because the studio was closed and they wanted to do yoga during COVID. And I don't know if you remember, but at the beginning of COVID, in that first lockdown, everyone was like, I'm going to do loads of yoga. And so I actually got over 400 members in the first 3 weeks of the COVID lockdown, which was amazing. But remember, I was still only charging £5.50 and I'd lost my income completely from the studio. So that's when I brought the live classes into the membership. Why I'm telling you that is because I think it would have been really difficult to build the community if I was just having to do it. Like now, new members coming into the community has slowed down a lot because people are ready to go back inside. People are wanting to do beach yoga, people are wanting to go back to the studio, like online yoga. There's definitely people who are still into the online yoga. There's more people doing the online yoga now than there was in 2018, but we're not riding that COVID boom of online yoga. So my online membership join-ups have got really slow, but my in-studio ones have got up much higher. And if I was to launch now, I probably personally wouldn't use the membership model to start something new, because I've already got the base of it. I've already got the memberships, so I wouldn't close it because one, I really enjoy running it, and two, I make a good income from it. But if I was having to build it up from scratch, the cons of it are that it takes up so much time. I don't have the energy to do things like more in-depth courses that I would like to do with the community. So those people in the community, I would quite like to be able to do more like yoga philosophy with them. And I think that maybe shorter things where you charge more, but they're shorter, I think people engage with them slightly better. And this just depends. So I would say maybe 10% of my members do a regular live class. I would say maybe another 10% do a regular on-demand class, and I would say maybe 30% of the remaining regularly drop in and out. And then I would say there's quite a lot of people who are what I would refer to as a lurker, who enjoy the membership because they get value from the emails. They like the idea of it being there because they might do one once every 6 months. They intend to do it, but in reality the setup of a membership model means that because it's always there, they don't have that urgency to actually engage with the work. So I think maybe like a shorter course model where you charge more and you have that momentum of everything doing something at the same time together, you might have a little bit more engagement. So if it's really important to you that you're all getting in together and you're really engaging with the material, there is a sense with the membership model that there's a lot of people who engage with it as and when they want. So it's kind of like a drop in, drop out, kind of like they just turn up when they want to, which can be a little bit frustrating if you want to go a bit deeper, because it's quite I wouldn't say superficial, because the classes are really, the people who come and do the live classes and even the people who dip in and out, they're definitely getting value from it because they're doing the yoga as and when they want to. But as a teacher, if you're wanting to take people on that more yogic journey, then
really think about how can you do that within your membership and build it in from the start if a membership is what you're wanting to do. The more practical cons of doing a yoga membership is an online membership is that I have a quite high rate of churn. So churn is not people who cancel, but people who might get a new card, my car might be stolen, or for whatever reason, or maybe the bank just declines this payment. For whatever reason, the payment doesn't go through. So you have to spend quite a lot of time doing things like chasing payments. Now, I personally don't chase payments. I just see that as part of the cost of membership. I send them, so if their payment fails, they get an automated email saying your membership's failed, your membership's going to be cancelled. Here is the link to update your details if you want to stay there. But then I don't follow it through any more than that, because I just don't have the heart to do that, because if they're not engaged with it and it cancels their membership, then like it's a rolling contract anyway. It's just quite disheartening for me to have to like chase it up, and is it really worth it when they probably just let them go. The other thing is when people cancel, it can be really hurtful, which like if it's a course, then it just runs, and then maybe they don't buy a next one. But it can feel really personal when somebody cancels their membership, even though like I have memberships that I really like that I've cancelled, that for whatever reason, like it might actually have nothing to do with the membership itself, but I might just be interested in something else, or I might just not be able to afford it. Like there's so many reasons why people cancel, but every time someone cancels, it does feel a little bit personal. But every time that someone cancels, you get a little bit, that gets easier, and eventually you are able to just take it on the chin. So another thing with a membership is that because it's you, people are expecting new content. People expect new content with a membership, so you have to keep providing new material. And if you're doing things like live classes, it might be that you have to put in the expectation for things like holidays. So you might have to say, do you know what, this is a membership, but like 2 times a year, 4 times a year, there might be classes not there, or you can get a cover in. But if you have a small number of people in your membership, it might not be financially viable for you to get cover in. So you might have to set that expectation and say, look, I'm gonna have to take a break from time to time. I'm only human. And do you know what? Most people are really, really good about that. The other thing is that you have to keep marketing it. So like I said earlier, there is an expectation that you just open your membership, the membership's great, people tell everyone about it, and then you build it and then they'll come. You are going to have to keep finding ways to market your membership to get new people in all the time, which is obviously a lot of work. But that's true of anything. You're going to have to be marketing anyway if you want people in your classes. So it's not necessarily more hard work, it's just maybe unexpected hard work. And there's also the fact that the money is stable, but you might not be able to charge as much as you would charge for a course. So a course, you might be able to say, it's X amount of money for a short course, but for a membership, because people are paying monthly, the expectation is they're getting a lot of value for a smaller monthly fee. So even though you're getting the money in regularly, it might be that the amount of money that you would actually potentially be able to make for the amount of work that you're doing is less than if you were running courses and one-to-ones and workshops and things like that. One of the things I really like about my membership is the fact that every week is kind of the same. So I've got a timetable, I stick to it, I do it, I know what I'm going to do. I like that. I like having that routine. The actual doing of my membership now, so a lot of the work that I did setting up my membership, I did in the depth of COVID, So a lot of the like building out the website, a lot of the creating the marketing materials, creating the automations, the technical side of it, the working out the best way to set up my camera, all of that kind of stuff, I did in the depth of COVID when the studio was closed. So it was basically my full-time job for about a year. Was it more than a year? Oh, who knows? Who knows anymore how long COVID took? But in the lockdowns, that was my job. It was my full-time job. It was such a lifesaver. That community got me through so much. It gave me something to do. It was wonderful. But I basically worked on it full-time for about a year to get it to the point where the systems worked, where I now feel like I was about to say, I think I edited it out, but I was about to say, oh, and now my online membership doesn't feel like any work. But that's because I have forgotten that I spent a full year full-time building it. So an online membership is a really viable way to run your online classes, but just don't think that it's going to be less work than doing it in any other way, because you still have to do the exact same amount of work. If you have any questions about the membership model, I love talking about it because I did loads of research about it. Like, if anyone would like to set up an online membership and would like some pointers, you can always get a tutorial with me, or, you know, I just love talking about it. So do get in contact with me. I hope you found this helpful in getting you to decide what way that you want to offer your classes. As with everything, there's pros and cons of everything, and there isn't a right way of doing it. You just have to find what works the best for your life. Bye.